From a superhero who choked a fan on camera, to a sitcom star sentenced to 30 years for crimes his church tried to hide for over a decade. Hi, I'm Cartor Raay, starting with Ezra Miller, whose mental health crisis became a multi-state nightmare that left victims across 2 countries and cost a studio over $200 million. To millions of fans, they were The Flash, DC's big hope for a franchise comeback. But behind the scenes, everything was falling apart. In April 2020, a 7-second video outside a bar in Reykjavik captured what would become the turning point.
You learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal? Whoa, bro. Fight?
But Miller grabbed her by the throat, threw her against a dumpster, then to the ground. The woman later told Variety she was genuinely terrified. That was just the beginning. 2 years later, Hawaii became ground zero. On March 28, 2022, at a karaoke bar in Hilo, Miller ripped the microphone from a woman's hands, then went after a guy playing darts nearby. When police arrived, Miller claimed they'd been accosted by a Nazi.
What did I do wrong?
He spit in somebody's face.
A guy in that bar declared himself as a Nazi. I have it on film, and he attacked me.
Okay.
The police chief shut that down pretty quickly and said this was about karaoke, not what they claimed. Miller was released later on $500 bail, but the most disturbing allegations came in June 2022 when the parents of Takata Iron Eyes filed for a restraining order in Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Court.
The actor is being accused of an 18-year-old activist for the last 6 years. Yikes. Takata Iron Eyes is the name of an 18-year-old activist whose parents and attorney have claimed that Miller has been controlling and manipulating since they met in 2016.
They said their daughter met Miller when she was 12 and Miller was 23. In their filing, the parents described violence, intimidation, and what they believed was cult-like control. Takata responded publicly, denying the accusations. She said Miller had supported and protected her, not harmed her.
Some people are saying that my statements were not written by me. I'd like to clarify that they are, in fact, directly from me. Nobody is controlling my Instagram account. This is my life. These are my decisions, and I'm disappointed in my parents and the press in every way.
By August, Miller released a statement acknowledging complex mental health issues and said they were seeking treatment. DC had already made its call. The Flash was finished and fully marketed, but the studio couldn't move forward. That decision cost them over $200 million. Miller's attempting a comeback as of 2025, but major studios remain cautious. The Flash franchise is dead. But while Miller's violence played out in public, Shia LaBeouf's behavior stayed behind closed doors until Talia DeBrett Barnett, aka FKA Twigs, spoke out.
He would often just start having an argument with me in the middle of the night, start accusing me of doing all sorts of things, planning to leave him in my head. He'd wake me up and tell me I was disgusting, that I was vile.
The lawsuit, filed in December 2020, detailed a relationship that wasn't love. It was terror.
He was threatening to crash the car unless I said I loved him, and ended up basically strangling me in public at a gas station, and nobody did anything.
A housekeeper witnessed and testified about his violent behavior, describing how he grabbed her, carried her to a different room, and locked the door.
Here we have our first witness. The housekeeper had also provided sworn testimony that Mr. LaBeouf yelled at Ms. Barnett that she had to come with him, and when she refused, he became incredibly angry. After this, he carried Ms. Barnett to a different room and locked the door. Eventually, after he left, the housekeeper testified that Ms. Barnett was in a very traumatized state. She had been crying and her voice was very weak.
The impact went far beyond the physical. It destroyed her career. Her album release was delayed indefinitely, her tour was canceled, work commitments fell apart. At first, LaBeouf's response sounded like accountability. I have been abusive to myself and everyone around me for years. I'm ashamed of that history. But by 2023, he changed his tune, denying most allegations. And this wasn't the first time. Carolyn Foe, who dated him from 2010 to 2011, described the same pattern of explosive behavior, including an incident that left her bleeding. Singer Sia said he was a pathological liar who conned her into a relationship. However, in July 2025, the case was settled. The terms were confidential, but settling doesn't erase what happened. While LaBeouf's victims fought to be heard, Danny Masterson's victims fought the Church of Scientology for 14 years before anyone listened.
This is just one of many cases that Scientology has been involved in attempting to obstruct justice, and Mike could also speak to that, but it's the absolute policy of Scientology.
On September 6th, 2023, Danny Masterson, best known for That 70s Show, was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison for rape of 2 women.
Actor Danny Masterson from That 70s Show has been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. He received 15 years to life for 2 counts of rape.
This all dated back to 2001 through 2003. For years, nothing happened. Then, in June 2020, after a long Los Angeles Police Department investigation, prosecutors finally filed charges. The first trial in late 2022 ended without a verdict. When the case returned to court in May 2023, the jury found him guilty. At sentencing, the victim spoke directly to the court. One wished she had gone to police sooner. Another said she'd forgiven him, that what he did was no longer hers to carry. A third thanked the judge for giving her a voice. She talked about the physical and emotional damage she still lives with. He stole from me when he to me. But the most disturbing part wasn't just what Masterson did, it was what the Church of Scientology allegedly did to cover it up for over a decade. The church allegedly discouraged victims from reporting to police and protected him for 14 years. Masterson is currently incarcerated, serving 30 years to life. But not every Hollywood scandal involves violence. Some involve power dynamics disguised as creative vision, like Megan Fox learned when she dared to criticize Michael Bay. Fox was 15 when she worked as an extra on Bad Boys 2 in 2003.
I had just turned 15 and I was an extra in Bad Boys 2.
Really?
And yeah, they were shooting this club scene and they brought me in and I was wearing a Stars and Stripes bikini and a red cowboy hat and like 6-inch heels. And he approved it and they said, you know, Michael, she's 15 so you can't sit her at the bar and she can't have a drink in her hand. So his solution to that problem was to then have me dancing underneath the waterfall getting soaking wet.
When the Me Too movement gained momentum, people started looking at that story differently. On Twitter, it got framed as the sexualization of a teenager. Bay was accused of predatory behavior. Fox later clarified that nothing inappropriate happened, that she was never harmed, and that crew members were always present. But the real hit to her career didn't come from how Bay treated her. It came from what happened after she criticized him. In September 2009, Fox gave an interview to Wonderland magazine where she compared Bay to Hitler. She said he ruled his sets like a tyrant, obsessed with control, while offset, he was awkward, insecure, and socially clueless. The backlash was immediate, and it wasn't aimed at Bay. It landed squarely on Fox. The industry closed ranks around a powerful director, not the young actress who spoke out. A crew letter posted on Bay's own website accused her of lacking talent and even suggested she pursue a career in porn. By 2011, Fox was gone from Transformers 3. The official explanation was that she no longer looked right for the role. The real reason was simpler. She'd crossed the wrong person. Years later, in 2016, Fox admitted she could have smoothed it over. All I had to do was apologize, and I refused. I was so self-righteous at 23. Her career recovered from the 2009 low point, though her profile remains lower than her peak Transformers years. While Fox's controversy involved Hollywood power dynamics, Charlie Sheen's involved HIV, extortion, and $10 million in hush money. In November 2015, Charlie Sheen sat down with Matt Lauer on The Today Show.
I'm here to admit that I am in fact HIV positive. It's a hard 3 letters to absorb, you know? It's a turning point in one's life.
Sheen had actually learned about his diagnosis years earlier, around 2011. Once doctors confirmed it, he began treatment privately. Not long after, people who stayed at his home noticed his medication and began threatening to go to the press. From 2011 to 2015, Sheen paid approximately $10 million to keep his status secret.
I trusted them. They were deep in my inner circle, and I thought that they could be helpful, and instead they as I wrote, my trust turned to their treason.
On the show, his doctor, Robert Huizenga, clarified that his doctor clarified the virus was at undetectable levels and medication was keeping it under control. The announcement had a real impact. Searches related to HIV jumped sharply after the interview. The Charlie Sheen effect. Testing rates across the country went up. But the announcement didn't close the door on legal issues. In 2017, an ex-girlfriend accused him of hiding his status. That case was handled through arbitration. In 2022, he settled another lawsuit for $120,000. In 2025, he released a memoir, The Book of Sheen, along with a documentary titled AKA Charlie Sheen, addressing the extortion payments, his past behavior, and his efforts to get his life back on track.
I don't know who that is. And that's not a cop-out. Or I don't know what part of me that came from. It's weird. It's like there's a possession going on.
But if Sheen's story involved extortion, Sydney Sweeney's controversy showed how political associations can destroy a career overnight, even when the star never spoke. In July 2025, American Eagle launched a campaign starring Sydney Sweeney with the tagline, "Sydney Sweeney has great jeans."
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
The script leaned into wordplay genes versus jeans. Critics argued that pairing a blonde, blue-eyed actress with genetic wordplay while using heavily stylized imagery sent an uncomfortable message.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
On August 3rd, 2025, Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, calling Sydney Sweeney a registered Republican and saying the jeans were selling fast. That attention translated into real numbers. American Eagle's stock jumped about 20%, and by September, the company was crediting the campaign for a strong third quarter. But Sweeney stayed silent. For 3 months, from July to October 2025, she said nothing publicly. During that time, records showed she'd been registered as a Republican in Florida since 2024. She hadn't shared that publicly, it leaked. For fans who knew her from Euphoria and The White Lotus, it felt like a mismatch. By October 2025, reports emerged that Sweeney had been sidelined from major opportunities. James Bond casting allegedly removed her from consideration. She eventually spoke up in December to People magazine. I was honestly surprised by the reaction. I did it because I love the jeans and love the brand. I don't support the views some people chose to connect to the campaign. Many have assigned motives and labels to me that just are not true. She acknowledged her silence was a mistake. I hope this new year brings more focus on what connects us instead of what divides us. Then, just a few days later, she drew fresh attention after wearing an Israeli designer to a premiere during the ongoing Israel-Palestine conflict, which set off another round of debate. As of January 2026, her career is in a tough spot. She's still working, but the controversy hasn't faded, and it's changed how the industry looks at her. While Sweeney's downfall came from silence, Andy Dick's came from decades of predatory behavior that the industry ignored until a jury finally held him accountable. In 2007, on the Jimmy Kimmel Live, Andy Dick was visibly intoxicated, and during the live broadcast, he kept making unwanted physical contact with Ivanka Trump.
You don't play up the glitter on your legs?
Andy, don't touch Ivanka.
Jimmy Kimmel tried to shut it down more than once, and eventually security had to come out and pull Andy off the stage. After that, nothing really happened. There were no charges, no real consequences, and the incident was largely forgotten for 11 years. But it turned out to be part of a much larger pattern. In 2008, Andy was arrested after an incident involving a 17-year-old. He pleaded guilty to misdemeanor battery and was given probation. Between 2018 and 2019, an Uber driver accused Andy Dick of inappropriate contact. He denied the claims and pleaded not guilty, calling the allegations baseless. After a 2-week trial in November 2022, a jury convicted him. He was sentenced to 90 days in jail, required to register, serve probation, attend treatment programs, and pay restitution. In 2017, Dick had already been fired from the indie film Raising Buchanan after production members accused him of unwanted behavior on set. In December 2025, he was found unresponsive on the Hollywood steps and taken to the hospital. Dick has joked that his middle name is Misconduct. By the time all of this happened, it hardly sounded like a joke anymore.